Hi everyone! Today I wanted to share a really amazing woman with you. She wasn't afraid to change the way that students learned. That's because she knew that learning and being smart was about way more than just sitting in a classroom. You need to see, feel, and experience things as well. Being curious and exploring is such a big part of being smart. Has there ever been a time where you learned by doing something? Maybe it was taking apart and putting back together one of your toys, or planting a garden. The list is endless because every time we do something new or we experiment, we're learning. Let's see how Anna Comstock changed the way that schools taught students and what it meant to be smart. Out of School and Into Nature, the Anna Comstock Story. Written by Suzanne Slade and illustrated by Jessica Lanan. From the time she was no higher than a daisy, Anna was wild about nature. She loved to hold it close in her fingers. She wanted to feel it squish between her toes, which was why she ran barefoot all summer long, raised slimy tadpoles into pet toads, and climbed tall trees instead of sitting in their shade. Sometimes Anna just sat, watching. One of my joys was going barefoot from early spring until late autumn. That's how she discovered nature's secrets. Leafy moths demonstrated the art of camouflage. Fuzzy bees showed her pollination, and marching ants explained all about teamwork. Through the years, Anna grew like a sunflower. So did her love of nature. Her mother taught her the names of wildflowers dancing in the meadow. At night, she whispered the names of the constellations twinkling in the velvety black sky. Back then, girls were supposed to get married after high school. But Anna's heart belonged to her first love, nature. So she took off for college to learn more of its secrets. Anna studied plants and insects she'd never seen before. Such thousands of insects I never saw before. The more she learned, the more she wanted to share her discoveries. So she began to draw, slowly, carefully. Her bugs looked so real they almost crawled right off the paper. Amazed by her art, a professor started using her pictures during his lectures. Farmers studied her detailed sketches to identify hungry bugs stealing their crops. Yet Anna dreamed of creating even more realistic pictures, so she started carving fine lines into a block of wood. When she rolled ink over her engraving and pressed paper on top, magic! A beautiful print appeared. Stink bug, mayfly, doodlebug. Each one was breathtaking. Anna was a fine artist, but she was a scientist too. Peering through her microscope, she studied delicate wings, legs, and antennae to create her art. In her day, most people thought men belonged in science, not women. Anna thought they were nutty as an oak tree, so she kept on researching and drawing. She created illustrations for an insect book so others could learn more about these tiny creatures. In time, she became a nature expert. Then one day, Anna made a surprising discovery. While visiting nearby schools, she realized they didn't have any nature classes. In fact, most New York schools weren't teaching about nature. It seemed other subjects were more important, like reading, writing, and math. Anna knew this needed to change, and fast. So she decided to start by teaching the teachers. Anna grabbed her pen and wrote lessons about nature's marvelous mysteries. Caterpillars changing into graceful butterflies. Water freezing into six-sided snowflakes. Trees turning rain and sunlight into sweet sap. Her lessons captivated curious teachers. Soon, nature classes sprouted up in schools everywhere. But Anna believed children should experience nature too. They needed to hold it close in their fingers, feel it squish between their toes. Then nature itself could teach children. So Anna asked teachers to take their classes outside. People thought she was crazy. Didn't she know school rules? Students learn inside. Students play outside. Determined, Anna didn't give up. She wanted children to become passionate about wildlife, to take care of the environment. Nature study cultivates in the child a love of the beautiful. Finally, schools agreed. Notebooks in hand, students tromped through forests and fields, fascinated by the wonders around them. They stopped and sat, watching. That's how they discovered nature's secrets. Spiders spinning sticky webs, brown bats snoozing upside down, tadpoles sprouting stubby legs, and the children became wild about nature. News of Anna's outdoor study spread faster than dandelion seeds on a windy day. Soon, classes across New York, across the country, headed outside. Because Anna changed the rules, children realized how all living things are connected, unique, important. And they wanted to learn more. So Anna decided to create books about nature. Year after year she wrote. She drew. But she always made time for her first love, nature. Anna held it close in her fingers, felt it squish between her toes, until her very last days. The nature story is never finished. There is not a weed or an insect or a tree so common that the child, by observing carefully, may not see things never yet recorded. Have you ever gone outside in one of your classrooms to learn? Did you enjoy it? Do you think it changed the way you learn? Is there something that you love to do, like how Anna loved nature, that you could do to change and help the world? Now we're going to do an activity that I hope you enjoy. I had so much fun doing it, and I know I'll do it again. We're going to be making our own illustrations, just like Anna did. And we're going to be making them by using paint we make from flowers. You'll also get to learn how you can look up and find information on anything you find in nature. I hope you enjoy it. Bye! Before we make our paint, set one flower aside or take a photo of the flower. Then, tear up the petals of the rest of your flowers into a cup or bowl. Make sure you use at least 5 or 6 flowers so you have enough petals. Then, pour a teeny tiny amount of hot water on your petals, just enough to get them wet. If you put a lot of water, your paint won't be very colorful. You should ask a parent to help you heat and pour the hot water. Let it sit for 10 minutes. The longer you let it wait and sit, the more colorful your paint will be. You should use this time to look at the picture or at your flower and draw it. Once you've finished drawing your flower and waited 10 minutes, you're ready to paint.
If you don't have a paintbrush or don't have colorful paint, you can rub your flower on your drawing. My marigold made a very light paint, so instead I just rubbed it on the paper, and look how bright that yellow is. Now it's time to label our flowers by looking them up using pictures. Take a picture of your flower, and then follow along with me on your computer as we look up our flowers. Now we're going to use the picture that we took of the flower we want to use and find out what it's actually called, what its scientific name is. If you don't have a computer, don't worry about it. You can just make up a name that you think fits your flower. But if you do have a computer or phone, it's pretty cool and you should try this along with me. You might need the help of your parent. Once you've saved your picture, you're going to go on to Google. Then, up here in the search bar, you're going to type images.google.com. Now, it looks pretty similar to what we were on, but it says Google Images. And there's a search bar here, and we are going to click on the camera. You can do this with more than just flowers. You can do this with anything. Isn't that awesome? We're going to go on to upload an image. Then choose File. And then you should come up with all sorts of pictures of flowers that look similar or the same as yours. If your picture is blurry, it might not work. So make sure you get a pretty good picture of your flower. But as you can see, mine was not that great and it figured it out. So now I know my flower is called a bougainvillea. And if I look over here, it will show me two different types of bougainvillea. One is red and one is purpley, and we can see that mine was really purple. So I think this is probably what mine was. Now I can see that the scientific name of my flower is right here. It's called a Bougainvillea glabra, and I can read a little bit about it. So it says that it's the lesser bougainvillea or paper flower. That means paper flower is my common name for my flower. A common name just means that's the common name, what most people call it, if you're not a scientist. It also says that glabra comes from Latin, and it means bald. So what this is pretty much saying is the flower that I chose to paint with was called a bald paper flower. And it's actually kind of true. What flower did you choose? Were you able to find the scientific name?